Yep, we're ready to go when you are.
Okay, thank you, Emily. Well, good morning, everybody. And as I say, welcome to Action Coach here in Birmingham. Wherever you're based, we're sort of all working from home at the moment with an Action Coach, but it's great to be able to continue supporting local businesses in Birmingham. Today's webinar is all about key steps to pivot your marketing during the crisis. I have been given numerous webinars along with my colleagues from Action Coach over the last 4 or 5 weeks. The weeks and the days are all merging into one right now, but hopefully we'll have some good news about the term lockdown towards the end of this week. But we've been giving so many webinars, and in every webinar we always, whether it's a webinar on marketing or not, always seem to come back to marketing and how to promote your business during this challenging time. And indeed, for those of you who are listening this morning, we have another webinar at 12 o'clock, which is all about branding and USPs, and again, how to keep your brand standing ahead of the crowd in what is becoming a very congested marketplace online. So if you're listening to this webinar this morning, you may well want to also tune in at 12 o'clock to our brand webinar, branding. So we're talking more about marketing in general this morning. And during these uncertain times, marketing, as we say, has been something that's more vital than ever before. But it's so important that business owners think about how they pivot their marketing, how you change your marketing strategy, your marketing approach, and prepare for the new marketing landscape that's going to be evolving over the coming weeks and months. One of the really interesting things and conversations that's so common again to every webinar, most conversations I have with business owners right now, is the phrase that's often used is when things go back to normal. And I think hopefully by now you're tuning into this webinar, you're realizing that things are not going to go back to the normal that we experienced before, but they're going to be we're going forwards into a new norm, a new way of working, a new way of living our lives day to day, and a new way of running our businesses. And so hopefully you'll take away something from today that will help you move your marketing strategy forward over the coming weeks and months. If this is the first time you've joined an Action Coach webinar, let me just share a little bit about us with you. We are the world's, or part of the world's, #1 coaching firm. Myself, my colleagues based at Fort Dunlop behind me. I'm not sitting on the M6, by the way. I'm safely tucked away at home. But we are based at Fort Dunlop in Birmingham, and we have the franchise for the whole of the Birmingham area and the outlying suburban towns. We, as Action Coach nationwide and across the world, have over 1,000 coaching offices in 80 countries worldwide. And we were privately owned and founded by Brad Sugars. If you have not come across Brad to date, I would strongly recommend after this webinar going on to Google, going on to Facebook, any of the social media platforms, and just searching for Brad. He is a really inspirational speaker, entrepreneur, and author, and is a great asset to our organization. I had the pleasure of meeting him, indeed, earlier on this year, sort of February time, up in Edinburgh at a common event we were both attending, and was talking to him about Action Coach and his vision for the future. And I said, Brad, it's great we're in 80 countries. How many more do you see us moving into? What's your vision for expansion and growth? And without any hesitation, he turned around to me and said, Steve, I want to be in 109 countries. And I said, well, why 109? That's quite a precise number, Brad. He said, because McDonald's are 108. So, and I'm not going to put his American accent on, but he has a real clear vision to create world abundance through business re-education. He has a passion, as do I, for reaching out now more than ever to businesses to support them and help them grow, not just to survive the pandemic, but to thrive and move forward, to push boundaries, to move over those brick walls and through those brick walls into thriving businesses that we all dreamt of and set up to begin with. And another question I always ask many business owners is, why did you set your business up? And what's the journey been like? And it's really interesting to see why people set their businesses up and the journey they've been on to date. And that journey has changed. And the one conversation I have with all business owners right now is, if you had a plan, we need to change it. If you don't have a plan, now is the time to write one. We're not talking war and peace, we're talking the next 90 days to get you and your business through the next 90 days. And if you haven't got a plan and you're listening to us today, again, we have planning webinars. I'm happy to pick up the phone with you directly after this webinar, or one of my colleagues will, or get in touch with us by email, and we'll talk to you about how we can plan and how you can plan for your business going forwards. We coach over 15,000 businesses a week across all these different countries. And just before we went into lockdown, into the pandemic at the beginning of this year, we were reaching out into both China and Russia, into Moscow. So it's just amazing how the demand and thirst for business re-education is grown over the last number of years. And people often ask me, well, Steve, what is a coach? And the easiest way I can to describe that to you is if you take any key sports person or athlete and ask them why do they have a coach. The coach doesn't teach them how to perform or how to play their particular sport. So Eddie Jones doesn't teach the England rugby team how to play rugby. Eddie is there to help them improve their game, to take their skills, to take how they're playing, to look at it from a different perspective, to give them tweaks, to give them suggestions how they can make maybe 100 small changes to the way they're playing to play even better. He'll put them under the right level of pressure, give them the right motivation to go into that next game and play to the very best of their ability as a team and as individuals. And then he brings them up at half time. He reviews the first half, he pumps them up, he motivates them and sends them out to play the second half. And regardless of the outcome of that game, win, lose or draw, he will take the learning from that experience and help that team play even better going forwards. That is what a coach does in sport, and that's exactly what we do to the businesses in Birmingham, all those organisations we're working with right now. And hopefully by being with us today, you will have something from this webinar that you'll be able to take away and apply to your own business. Emily, I'm just checking. I think you've put our contact details in the Q&A box. Is that right?
Yes, they're in the Q&A box now.
Brilliant. Thanks, Emily. And if you could also just put in there the link to the webinar at 12 o'clock, that would be great. Just in case anybody listening today would like to join us again at 12 o'clock for the branding webinar, that'd be brilliant. Okay. And if you're listening, I forgot to say, if you're listening on Facebook or another social media platform right now, we are really keen to reach out to you as well. We'd love to know. There's a bit of an internal competition going on between myself and my colleagues to see how far we can reach. So we'd love to know where you're listening from. And if you have any questions, please put those in the Q&A box. And if we can't respond to you live during the webinar, we will certainly reach out to you afterwards. Just before I get stuck into the marketing side aspect of this webinar, what can you expect? I say this slide in every single webinar. If you are homeschooling right now and you have children, Emily's getting bored of me saying this, but go and pinch their crayons, pinch their felt tips, and pinch their coloured pens. I would really encourage you right now to take notes in full colour. The reason I say this is our brain has two separate halves to it, as I'm sure you know. One half is a very logical, numerical, and logical, numerical, and systemizing side of the brain. The other half is more sort of musical, artistic, creative side of the brain. And we each have a dominant side. You may be a more logical thinker, more numerical, you may be a more artistic thinker. But by taking your notes in color, you're getting both sides of the brain working better for you. You're bringing both sides of the brain together so that when you come back to your notes later on, you'll understand the text, but also the pictures, the colors, the annotations will bring those notes to life for you. I was one of those children at school and at university that was told off for annotating and doodling in my textbooks, but actually it stood the test of time, and I can open one of those books today and know a bit more. I wouldn't say everything, but I can certainly recall more about what I was writing at the time. So try and get both sides of the brain working better together today. And also you can see a light bulb on the screen, and I hope you'll get some BFOs today. What are BFOs, you're wondering? Well, in Action Coach world, they are blinding flashes of the obvious. It is that aha moment when the brain closes the circuit. It makes a connection between two previously known but unconnected bits of information. And my role this morning is to help stimulate some of those for you, those of you who are listening. I would love this morning for you to have some aha moments, some BFOs, and I'd love you to share those with us if they do have them. There may well be things that I have to share with you this morning that you have heard before. There may well be things that you don't know before, but I would really encourage you not to think I know, but to think, isn't that interesting, and how can I apply that in my business right now? Because the context in which you're listening to this webinar this morning, I'm sure is very different to, say, a webinar you've had on marketing 6 months ago, 3 months ago. So hopefully the context in which you're operating your business, there'll be something you can take away from us today. And lastly, I just want to share this really encouraging slide with you. Yes, we're facing a worldwide pandemic that is having an unprecedented, I would say, impact on our country, on the world, on us all as individuals. There is nobody in this generation I know of that has experienced anything like this before. And so we are in unprecedented times, and we all need to be out there supporting each other, helping each other, and looking out for each other. But it is an opportunity for every single one of us. It's an opportunity to refocus our priorities, both personally and within our business. It's an opportunity for us to sit down and think, what was that vision and that dream when we set our business up? What is the goal, and what do we want to do with our business going forwards? It's an opportunity to think about our skills that we both need to get hold of and to train ourselves or retrain ourselves in, and to think about what skills we're lacking that might be holding our business back going forwards. It's an opportunity. How many business owners I've talked to over the years who said, I simply don't have time at the moment to have this conversation, or I simply don't have time to take out of my business to work on it. Well, now is that time. Now is that moment when many people have got time to think about how they take their business forwards, how they can drive their business forwards, and to go back and reconnect with the emotion of why you set your business up. I love having those conversations. What was it inside you? What was the emotion and the dream when you set your business up? And what has the journey been like so far? Just give you a moment to think about that. But right now, it's an opportunity to reconnect with that. And it's an opportunity to think about, how can I drive my business forwards? And on the screen in front of you, we've taken the process we're going through, and from the best of our skills and knowledge that we have shared between the professionals in this organization, we've looked forwards and we thought, well, we can see 5 key phases of the journey ahead. And I believe we're coming towards the end of phase 1, which is lockdown. But having said that, unlocking lockdown or lifting those restrictions is not going to be a straightforward or easy task. And I was listening to Radio 4 this morning about how people in Germany are going to have their hair cut, for example, a very simple event or activity in time gone by. But the way we operate our businesses and the way we're going to drive our businesses forward is going to be very different. And the way we live our lives is very different. Building consumer confidence is going to be really hard. So we need to think about how we're going to adapt our approach and change our approach going forwards. We can use this time to train, to reevaluate, and to rethink about our marketing and our business focus and our product range and how we're going to run our businesses. We can think about the warming up phase, how we're going to move back into operating our businesses in a face-to-face manner, having our teams working with us. But all of that is about making sure we're as fit and as prepared for the sprint of our lives. Every single one of us who is a business owner on this webinar today or listening further afield is going to be in the same set of starting blocks at the beginning of that race whenever lockdown ends. And we need to make sure that we all have the enough energy, the right clarity, focus, commitment, and ownership to drive our business forwards. I want you, every single one of you who's listening to this webinar today, to be leading from the front, to be putting maximum effort, to be focusing on your existing clients, to be implementing your marketing strategies, which you're going to be planning and preparing for right now, and to be testing and measuring the impact of those to be able to drive your business forwards. It is a sprint where everybody in your industry, all your competitors, are going to be at the same state, same starting blocks. And so it's really important that we use this golden opportunity, this unprecedented, once in a lifetime opportunity in terms of our business, to change, to improve, to adapt, to get ready to do the training we need to do for the sprint ahead, so that your business can not only survive, but thrive into the future. And one of the key things for that, at the bottom, it's about communication, but the other key thing is about your marketing and how we change our marketing going forwards. Emily, I can see my little box flashing on my screen with the Q&As. Is there anything in there that we need to respond to, any questions and answers that have come in so far?
Not at the moment. I'm just answering everything as we go on, so we're all set.
No problem. Thank you, Emily, for working so hard in the background. It's great to have you on board this morning. Emily actually is a digital marketing assistant within Action Coach, and she's taken on the role of managing a lot of our webinars, and it's great to have somebody focused on that area of our business right now to be able to push and promote our business on all the digital platforms. So it's just something I'll be covering later on in our webinar, but Emily, it's great to have you on the webinar today. So I'm going to go through 12 or so steps. If we've got time for 12, I'll get through as many as I can in the next hour. I do aim to finish by 10:30. You've taken the time to an hour out of your day to join us today. So I'll do my bit by doing what I can to make sure we finish by 10:30 today. So step number 1 is all about shifting your strategy, shifting your marketing strategy. Do you have a marketing strategy? When did you last review it? When did you last review your marketing strategy? When did you think about your inbound marketing focuses? And when did you last think about your customer experience? How do you engage with your customers right now? What sort of process do you have in place? And how do you enhance your loyalty for your existing customers? Your existing customers are your absolute best asset you have right now. Your marketing strategy should all be about delivering solutions, giving benefits, letting people feel they've got perceived value and actual value from engaging and working with you as an organization. That doesn't necessarily mean selling. It means offering value, offering information. An example here at Action Coach, we are not selling all our webinars. We're giving a lot of information away free. We are here to help. We have changed our strategy. We've changed our messaging. We are not letting money and cost of engaging with Action Coach be a barrier to any business that wants to work with us right now. Yes, we hope that clients longer term will want to take up paid for services, but right now our marketing strategy and our strategy is about helping and supporting as many business owners in Birmingham. So in terms of your business, what value are you offering to your clients, to your prospects out there at the moment? How are you promoting your business? What are the key messages that you are sharing out on a digital platform, on your website, etc., etc.? So shifting your message, reflect the current situation. If you haven't changed or tweaked your marketing messaging since the start of this pandemic, my goodness, now you need to do it as one of the top key priorities when you finish on this webinar today. The messaging through your marketing right now needs to be much softer, much more engaging, and much more sensitive than it was before. If it doesn't add value, it's waste, as Henry Ford said. So it needs to add value to people right now. They need to see a value in engaging with your organization, in reaching out to you and working with you. So make sure your marketing messages have some empathy. Make sure they're engaging. People find them interesting. And try and educate, offer information out there that can support business owners in some way. If you've got a product, how can your product support business owners right now? How, think about the current climate people are operating in. What can you do that will educate, engage, and empathize? Right now, it's all about helping and giving rather than selling and asking. And that's not to say that helping and giving isn't selling. Of course, you're letting people know that you're still there, you're supporting them, you're helping them. Start that relationship. Marketing right now is about building a relationship with your potential clients and with your existing clients. When did you last go back to your existing clients? When did you last have a conversation with them? What value can you add by talking to them right now? And I'll touch on that a bit later. But it really is right now about shifting your message in your marketing, thinking about what your marketing is saying about you as an organization, how it's sharing your values as you, on behalf of you as a business owner, and does it meet the needs of your potential clients right now in the marketplace? What value is it adding? And as I say, if you haven't tweaked and changed your marketing messages since before the pandemic started, then absolutely, one of your top 5 actions from today needs to be thinking about your marketing message going forwards. Step number 2 is about your website, and I hope you have a website. If you haven't, now is the time to think about building even a very simple one using software such as WordPress. But make sure your content on your website is up to date. Make sure it reflects the current situation. SEO, which stands for Search Engine Optimization. The way you get high up the Google rankings is by having up-to-date and refreshed and new content on your website. Google is very clever. It will search and scan websites, and it will also look for when people are clicking from their site onto your website, and people will click onto your website if it's got content they want to look at. So think about SEO, think about search engine optimization, and think about the content that's going to have an impact on that on your website. Have you got anything on your website that reflects your trading right now, what your services you're offering? Have you got anything on your website that sort of has been changed in the last few weeks? If you haven't already, one of the easiest ways to increase your SEO is to have a blog or a vlog. A vlog is a video log. A blog is a written log on your website. Keep it short, and I'll talk a bit more about that in a moment, but have a blog, keep it regular and keep it up to date. Tag, add descriptions and title pages. Don't duplicate things, but make sure you're adding descriptions and tagging other people and tagging other organizations on your website as well. Link it to all your social media sites. So a website will perform much better on Google if it's got links to outside sources and to other organizations and to other platforms. So make sure your website is linked to all other platforms and to other organizations that are linked to yours. Please avoid duplicate content and don't plagiarize. Google is very, very clever. Emily will back me up on this. Please don't plagiarize or copy content from somewhere else. You've got to make sure that it is genuinely your content. It's not to say you can't quote from other organizations, and of course you must reference them, but don't put a blog on there that is pinched from somebody else's in the main, but do provide links and add authority, and it will add to your credibility of your website. And of course, imagery, photos, videos need to be fresh, need to be up to date, and need to reflect your marketplace right now. A great example of this, I was working with an estate agent, great friend of mine. I know him through networking circles, and obviously he is not selling houses right now. So what is he doing on his website? He's taking people on the journey of a locked down estate agent, and he's talking to other business owners. He's done an interview with me, a video interview over Zoom. He's talking to some clients, some existing tenants. He's talking to some of his clients who are looking to move house. He's talking to other professionals associated with his industry, mortgage brokers, etc. And he's putting that as a diary vlog on his website. And I tell you what, it's getting traction. It's got a lot of traction, and people are following and engaging with him on a regular basis. And the other thing it's doing for him is it's telling people that he's out there, he's operating, he's surviving, and that he will be there when people want to come back to him in the future. Because there is going to become a time when people will have confidence and want to start spending money again. And they want to engage with your industry, with your types of organization. And consumers are going to have to start deciphering which organizations are out there operating, which are most credible, and which they trust, in which ones they trust and want to spend money with. So it's about making sure you share the message with potential buyers and clients and prospects out there that you are the organization in your industry to do business with. So make sure you update your website, keep it fresh, keep it alive, and take time now to start writing a blog or a vlog. But also anticipate you might be busy in a few weeks' time. So why not today, tomorrow, this week, write 2 or 3 blogs. They only have to be a couple of paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, no more than one side of A4. But remember, people want to engage with this, but not. It doesn't need to be War and Peace. So write 2 or 3, put them in the bank, and then over the next few weeks, start placing those on your website. So make sure your website's up to date. Linked to that is about content. So blogs, as I've mentioned a lot about blogs, so I won't say any more about that. But blogs can also be used not just on your website, but on social media posts, on LinkedIn, Facebook. You can use quotes from them on Twitter, but also it's about making sure you're using the most appropriate social media platform, and I'll come on to that shortly. But your content can be used on various and multiple platforms. So, think about your social media posts, think about live videos and interviews, I say, can go from your website onto social media. If they're on social media, you want to keep them to about 2 or 3 minutes. People will not want to sit on Facebook, LinkedIn, or any other platform for 10 minutes or half an hour watching a webinar. By all means, have a link somewhere else, but absolutely, unless it's a live event such as ours right now, I would keep it short and keep a link on it on your social media, or put a short snippet, a small short clip embedded in that social media platform. Case studies are great. So case studies that are historic, case studies that are current right now, try and reflect the mood of the country, the mood of your clients. Hosting webinars is a great way. As you can see, we're doing that today. Hosting webinars, that could be an interview style, which we often do as well. We get professionals coming on to talk to us about their industry. So let's say at 12 o'clock, we've got a brand specialist coming on, we're interviewing him. Next week on Monday, we've got a lady coming on to talk about LinkedIn, an expert on LinkedIn. So host webinars, they can either be a presentation style like this, or they can be an interview style with other guest hosts or panelists. And share checklists, tip sheets, and job aids, and share documents that people can download to use and see you as a source of authority, a source of help and aiding them in their business right now. So what content can you upload that's related to your product, related to your services, that people can access right now on your website? And making sure your content is memorable. So just linking back to what I've been saying, make sure it entertains, make sure you've got variety on all these platforms on your website. Have some fun things as well as a serious content. And it doesn't always have to be an ask. It doesn't always have to be a sell. It needs to make sure it has variety. So make sure that you go through these different cycles of something entertaining, something inspiring, something educational, something informative, and something that opens a dialogue. So, ask questions, answer questions, have those sort of, competitions, all sorts of things. Open a dialogue with your prospective clients, with your current clients, and with your marketplace out there. As Bill Gates says, content is king. It's about making sure that what you're putting out there follows one of those 5 key principles. It entertains, it inspires, it educates, it informs, and opens dialogue. Just going to check back in with Emily. Emily, any more comments at the moment or questions? Or are you still answering those as we go along?
Yeah, I'm just answering as we go along in the comment sections.
Thanks, Emily. Just out of interest, how far are we reaching this morning? Anybody put where they're listening to us from? What's the furthest we're reaching today?
We've got a couple of people from Cornwall and Devon.
Oh, brilliant. That's great.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So we've not gone international this morning. That's still
not
quite
yet.
a
There's
quite
still
a way.
time.
There's still time. I'm actually based down in Kent myself this morning, and Emily's based up in Birmingham. So we were, even within Action Coach, we're spreading ourselves around the country. So it's welcome to those who are listening from Cornwall this morning. It's good to have you with us. I used to live down in Devon myself, so not too far. Lovely part of the country, and I hope you've got a bit of sunshine down there this morning. So next, just talking a bit about vlogs and blogs. So if you're doing a blog or a vlog, make sure you've got a magnetic, compelling headline. That headline is what is going to grab your listener, your reader, your potential client straight away. And that first paragraph, for some people, is all they'll read. You've got to make sure you have something really engaging, really inspiring, educational. Open that dialogue in that first paragraph. It's so important. As I say, it doesn't need to be War and Peace. 800 to 1500 words is all you need to be writing in a blog, and include subheadings and break up the text. What we don't want is just one mass block of text, but do break it up with imagery and subheadings. And it's really important that whatever is in the title is the keywords are repeated within the blog itself, because that is what Google will use when doing the SEO, when doing the search. So you want those keywords to be used a couple of times within the text itself. Keep it conversational, informing and engaging. As I say, graphics and imagery is really important, but you need to make sure you've got copyright for those, using your own imagery. There is some great websites such as Canva that have got imagery that you can use. It's royalty free, and there are other websites available. But it is making sure you've got some royalty free websites. Emily, do you have any, being digital marketing, do you have any recommendations of websites where imagery can be used from?
There's obviously you need to make sure you're using non-copyright images for a start.
Yes.
But there are a couple of websites like Pixabay and stuff like that you can find easily on Google.
Okay, brilliant. Yes, I know there's a couple out there. I know it's an area that you focus on for us at Action Coach. So it's there are a number of websites so you can get royalty-free imagery from. So I'd recommend looking at that, but also using your own imagery. There's nothing better than seeing, using images from your own business, whether it's your own product or images of your business in operation, images of your surrounding area, wherever you're operating from. So yeah, your own imagery is king. Make sure you have a strong call to action. So if I was doing a blog on marketing, for example, I might offer the free marketing webinar. I might ask people to do something to go away and write down their 5 key marketing steps that they're going to take. I might encourage people to pick up the phone and have a conversation with us. And none of that is about selling a product. It's about reaching out and helping potential clients and existing clients right now. And make sure that all the links in your document are accurate. If you can have links to other organizations or other references, that's great. Again, it will help push your blog or your vlog higher up in Google rankings. It'll push your website higher up in Google rankings as well. But do make sure you go back to your blogs on a regular basis. And I've fallen foul of this before. Nobody's perfect by any means. Make sure your links are still working on a regular basis. So if you have a blog up there, or you've got a blog up there right now, and it's linking to other organizations or other content on the web, just every, sort of every 3 or 4 weeks, just go back and just click on those links and make sure they are still valid. Because if somebody goes onto your blog, reads it, and the links don't work, the immediate impression I get is it's out of date and it's tired and it's irrelevant. So go back, check your previous vlogs and blogs if you've been using them and putting them up, but also make sure you check your current ones every so often. In terms of videos, add videos to your mix. So as I said before, hosting live interviews, recording regular podcasts, and if you are doing webinars or seminars or workshops, or are there clips that you could take from those to put on your website? People love moving imagery. It will stop somebody on Facebook, on LinkedIn, much more than it will, a statutory image or no image at all. And if you haven't got videos, maybe think of a number of static images that you sort of pull together to create something more engaging, more interesting for your potential clients. So either use a number of images and stitch them together, or use video. And it doesn't have to be long. It could just be, sort of 30 seconds of moving image that would associate with the blog or with something to do with your business. But it will get a lot more interest and engagement than anything that's static. Suggestions are to record a regular podcast, to do daily check-ins and tips and talks. So you could host a 5-minute check-in every day on your website, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Choose great content over production value. So really think about the content of what you're putting out there. Try and make it as authentic as possible. There's nothing worse than a staged, sort of everybody sitting bolt upright in a webinar. Try and make it as relaxed and authentic as possible. And choose something that's really relevant right now to your industry, to your business, and to those people who might be listening. Why are we doing a marketing webinar this morning? Because marketing is so important to every business right now. It's one of the key things that everyone needs to be looking at. And we started a marketing club for the same reason. Marketing is key at the moment in turning businesses around and making sure they survive into the future. Vary the lengths of your video. And if you're stitching images together, try doing video for 15 seconds. Try doing a video for 10 seconds. Try doing it for a minute, and measure the engagement. See what works. See what keywords work. We in Action Coach talk about test and measure. Test and measure everything. If you are using such platforms such as Facebook, it will give you the levels of engagement for different content. And we know that one of the reasons we're putting on marketing webinar this morning and marketing club each week is because we have been looking at our stats on Facebook and LinkedIn over the last few weeks. And whenever we put anything on marketing, it always has much higher engagement levels than anything else. So any post we put on about marketing has a much higher engagement level. So look at what you're doing in your business in terms of the posts you're putting out there, the content you're putting on your website, but particularly on Facebook, Twitter, and the social media platforms, and just look at the engagement. And that will give you a good idea of what you want to perhaps focus on going forwards. And build on what your customers respond to, not what you like or think is important. So listen to your customers, think about the questions or what they're responding to, what they're engaging with, and focus on that. And a top tip I will share with you now that we took away from a webinar we did a few weeks ago on Google and SEO is when you search for something on Google, it will tell you what customers are also looking for. So if you're looking for X, Google will, further down the same front page, will say, people who asked this were also looking for this. And that will give you a really good idea in terms of your blog content, in terms of content to put out there on your videos and in your marketing. So use that tool. Google is giving you the information there as a ready-made plan for your blogs, for your content, for your website, and for your social media posts. So refresh and revive your social media. Understand that each platform has specific content focuses, and each platform will engage with different demographics. Know who your customer is that you're wanting to engage with. On our in-depth webinars on marketing, Marketing Club, we were talking only last week about profiles, and to create a persona, a profile of your ideal customer, your ideal client. What age are they? What sort of interests might they have? What sort of magazines or websites might they be engaging with? What sort of financial background might they have? What sort of family demographics? Where might they live? Are they local to Birmingham? Are they further afield? So think about your typical customer that you are trying to attract or have attracted to your business, and think about the best way to engage in them through social media. As I say, there are certain platforms that will appeal to certain age groups. For example, TikTok. My belief is TikTok is really sort of for the 25s and under. I would say Facebook is for 25 to 45. So there are, and that's not to exclude other age brackets, but certain platforms will appeal to certain age groups. If I ask my children now, I mean they're 9, about Facebook, they won't know anything about it, but they do know a lot about TikTok, and they're really keen to engage in TikTok. They're a bit young to have their own account. But even the teenagers today, they will say that Facebook is for their parents and other platforms are for them. Think about Instagram. And if you're a business to business, think about how you can make best use of LinkedIn. So use the right platforms for social media. Don't spread yourself so thin that you can't maintain everything. Make sure you use the right hashtags and descriptor tags for your search engine optimization, and link it to your website. As I say, have a sense of urgency and have strong call to action in your social media posts. You have a very short space and very limited amount of text. So make sure that you have the right tags and the right call to action. As I said already, focus on quality, not just quantity of your posts. And ask questions, pose a challenge, engage with live questions and answer sessions, and employ the 90-10 rule. 2 platforms get 90% of your attention. You experiment on the rest of the platforms just 10% of the time. So as I say, choose 2 platforms that you think are key to engaging with your typical customer or your ideal prospect. Spend 90% of your time on those. So for example, at Action Coach, we focus primarily on Facebook and LinkedIn. We believe that is where we'll get best engagement for current and prospective clients. And that's not to say that we won't engage on TikTok, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Pinterest, on YouTube. We post all these videos on YouTube. But there are key platforms that are critical to your business, and you need to decide which one of those are best for you, and then measure your progress, review the stats, and make sure you're getting best value for money. And best value for money is not just how much you spend in advertising on those platforms, but value your time. Put a value on your hourly rate, how much you would pay yourself, and think about how you're best using your limited resource of your own time in terms of your marketing going forwards. Now on Facebook, you can create posts and create ads. You can set a budget, you can set a target audience, and I would use the A/B test. So, do one and do another and see which one performs best, and then make a decision on how you're going to go forwards. Keep things really simple. Keep things clear, not too much text, and keep it really simple. What you're saying, what you're advertising, a really clear image. Make it eye-catching. Add buttons to it. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about this now. If you want to find out more about Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, we do specific webinars on those topics, and I'm really happy to invite you along free of charge to any one of those. And Emily will put a link into our Q&A box online right now. I say right now, I'm not telling you what to do, Emily, but she will, while I'm on the webinar today, put a link to all our events and activities. And you'll see our marketing club on there, and we will be going through each one of these platforms over a period of weeks and helping you out on how to make best use of those. Link your Facebook post back to your website. Imagery should match the audience that you're trying to attract. A simple copy to accompany any post. Use simple imagery, and ensure your branding is strong. And if you want to talk more about branding, join us again at 12 o'clock. Make best use of Facebook. You can also do events on Facebook as well. I'm not going to go into those too much today, but test and measure. Boost your posts on Facebook. You can do it from as simple as a couple of pounds and just see what impact it has. It will tell you the potential reach, and you can look at the engagement levels. Perhaps do 2 posts, boost one, don't boost the other, and just see what impact it has on your business. It's really important to use all these marketing tools to build a database and to enhance your database. Creating multiple opportunities for people to sign up for activities, for events, for more information. That is people giving you their information, their permission for you to contact them back. So, call to action, ask people to contact you, ask people to give their information. Before they download something on your website, ask them to give your email address so that you can then contact and follow that up. Optimize your opt-in pages. Send a really, stellar, a really sort of articulate, clear, accurate, friendly, welcome email to anybody who signs up to your organization for anything. And develop valuable email content. Tweak your emails, make sure they are really engaging. It's maybe the one and only opportunity you have to really capture that potential client and to engage with them directly. Provide an email preference center so you can change their email preferences for your website, and you may need to get external support in doing that. Focusing on optimal email deliverability, so it's making sure you've got you're checking addresses, checking content, refresh and clean your list regularly, so people where bounce backs, where things are not getting through. Don't keep sending them. Clear up your emails. Make sure you're maintaining your database to the best of your ability. It's a great asset to have a good quality database that will reach the right people when you want to use it. And be transparent with your privacy practices. So make sure you've got a privacy statement on your website that is accessible, and occasionally put links to that on your Facebook or any other advertising you're doing as well. Make sure people can see and you're being as transparent about your data you're holding on others as well. And we could do a whole webinar on GDPR. I'm not going to do that today, but just make sure you are following GDPR guidelines. That's a general data protection requirements within your organization. In terms of email marketing, get to know your audience. As I say, send out different emails, see what works, test response rates, choose meaningful metrics. So don't just choose what has been opened, but choose different click rates. You can have it if you're using software such as MailChimp, and there is other great software out there as well. You can choose what clicks people are linking onto your website. You can see where people are going on your website, and you see what clicks people are doing on the emails that you send out. Personalize as much content as part of your email as possible. Dear Stephen, dear Emily. Try and personalize your email where you can. And consider frequency and the days and times, and look at when people are opening your emails. So if you're finding more people opening your emails at 9 o'clock in the morning on a Monday, then that's clearly the time to send them is 8 o'clock on a Monday, so they get opened when people come in. I would suggest sending them at 5 o'clock on a Friday in normal circumstances wouldn't be the time to send them. But times have changed. So manager now, even if you had specific times you sent your emails in the past, there's many, many people working from home right now or in different situations. So just go back to that data, revisit and review when people are clicking on your emails, when people are opening them. And there are services out there such as MailChimp, which will give you this information when you send your emails out. I've already mentioned GDPR. Make sure you're adhering to GDPR, and segment your audiences. So not every contact should get the same message. If you're doing a mass mailing about face-to-face webinar on something or a particular product, email to those clients who've expressed an interest in that product. Don't just send everything to everyone all the time. They will get fatigued, they will switch off, and they will go to your mail preference center and stop receiving, they'll unsubscribe, want to stop receiving your emails. So think about how you use your database, and think about how you're emailing your clients, and make sure you make best use of that opportunity, and make it clear who you are and what you're seeking. People so often forget to put the call to action. So make sure you put your call to action and how you can help and support their business right now. Once you've sent that email, you want them to click on something. You want them to respond. You want that call to action to be implemented. And I would recommend creating landing pages. There's somewhere for them to click. There's a specific page on your website for them to come back and find out more information about what you're saying, what you're talking about, what you're offering, the service or product you have to offer them. We at Action Coach, if you send an email out to register for an event or to find out about more information, we'll bring them back not to the front page of our website, but it'll bring them back to a specific part of our website that tells them more about what that email was about. So ensure that landing page matches your ad, matches your Facebook post, matches the email you send out. You want a consistency in all your communication. Keep your action above the line, use directional cues and direct the eye to what you want people to see. Make sure your click buttons, your register here, your buy now buttons are all really clear and simple and easy for people to see on your website. Show your product or service in action if you can. Say short video clips, imagery is really critical at this point. People have taken that first step to find out. Now is an opportunity for them to actually see your product in reality, not in real life, but see it in action and to see what it does. So as much information, as much imagery, video about your product or service is critical. Remove any sort of noise around the website, so navigation and other distractions from that landing page. Include social proofs, so links to your social website, reviews, etc., product reviews, all of that sort of thing needs to be on that same page as well. Use clear, compelling content and keep it short, keep it brief, keep it fast. And make sure your landing page is designed for mobile friendly access. There'll be many people at home right now who you may be contacting that don't have a laptop, they don't have the work laptop, or they're just choosing to respond and click on your email from their phone whilst in front of the TV in the evening or on their iPad. So try wherever possible to make sure that your website and all your content is mobile, tablet, mobile phone friendly. Test and update your content regularly to make sure it's still working, and use templates. There's lots of really easy to use resources out there. As I say, there's websites such as Canva, which we use a lot, but there's other websites out there that can help you create content that is for multiple platforms and multiple devices. So make sure you're making best use of the free content, the free resources, and you're testing and making sure your content works well for you. And the last step is all about learning to use Google AdWords. It's making sure that you're using the right words in your content, and then on Google you can pay for those. If people are searching for keywords, you can pay for your website, your organization to be promoted to the top of the page. So look into Google AdWords, investigate, look at the cost, look at the return, look at the potential market, potential hit rate through certain words. And use, as I say, when you're going onto Google, if you search for a particular product or service, then think about what other people are looking for as well. So a great example here at Action Coach, very few people search for business coach, but I know from my own research that many, many more people will search for business plan or marketing. So if we were going to pay for Google AdWords, we wouldn't necessarily pay for business coach. We would pay for business plan. We would pay for marketing in Birmingham. There are other things we would pay for with Google Ads to make sure that we are coming up higher up the Google rankings. So just think about, I'm not going to go into detail right now because again, we spend a whole hour on Google AdWords, but just think about how you can make best use of Google AdWords. Think about your marketing as an investment. Many people I talk to, I say, now is the time when we need to be pruning our organizations. Think of the fruit tree in the garden. We need to prune it to make sure it flourishes and it fruits now and in future years. But the one part of your organization you should not be cutting right back on right now is your marketing. It is so, so important to make sure you keep investing in your marketing. And basics of a website, making best use of social media, paying for boosts on social media platforms, and investing in Google. Google is the new Yellow Pages. It has been for a long time. Make sure you're investing in Google and your website. That is a window to your organization out there. So think about what people will see, what people will read, what people will learn about your organization when they find it on Google and when they find your website and go to it for the first time. What is the first thing they see when they land on your company's website? And is it up to date? So I've got 10 minutes to go, so I'm almost finished, but just to finish up. So the key messages from me this morning are: do more marketing, do not cut back. Update your marketing plan, do that yourself, but if you want some help, we would love to be able to support you in doing that. We're giving free 1 hour pro bono coaching sessions, and we'd love to have a conversation. We've got a number of different coaches on the within our organization. We're not just a one coach organization, and we all come from different backgrounds. We have a coach that's come from the catering and hospitality background. We have a coach that's come from a background of setting up and selling his own businesses over a number of years and brought products into the UK and sold and promoted those on a national level around the whole of the UK. Some really well-known everyday brands. And myself, I come from a communications and marketing background, 15 years of communications and marketing in large organizations. So we have different coaches out there that can help you, and we'd love to work with you. Shift how and where you market. Think about where your product is going. Is there a different market for your product? How can you pivot that? Some great examples. I still am working with my daughter's ballet school, and they also used to do ballet classes and other dance classes at the weekend. They're now delivering all their services online via Zoom, and they've opened up a whole new marketplace for themselves. They've now pivoted their marketing and selling online classes, not just to the children that they were coaching or teaching at the weekend, but they're now doing Keep Fit classes. They're doing different dance techniques. They're doing ballet for adults, all sorts of services. So think about how and where you can market your product going forward. How can you pivot? What new market, what new audiences are there out there that might want to access or potentially could access your service online that weren't able to access your services before? Shift your messaging. Make sure you review your messaging. Make sure it's up to date. Make sure it's relevant and content. And reallocate budget to new marketing channels. That is so important right now. I would say that any organization needs to have at least 6 marketing channels at any one time. And the most important of those is your existing customers. When did you last go to your existing customers? How could you do something? What can you do that's different, that makes you stand out? And I haven't really touched on it on this webinar, but what is your USP? What makes you stand out from the crowd? Why would I come to you rather than anybody else? What makes you unique? Your organization unique? And also, what guarantee can you offer? What guarantee can you offer to your existing and your potential new customers going forwards? We at Action Coach say that if you don't make your money back, you invest in coaching over 9 months, we will give you the cost you invested in coaching back, every single penny, because we're so confident in the services that we provide. What guarantee could you offer in your organization that would help drive up business for you? And last but by no means least, test, measure, and adapt. Your marketing strategy is so important. Make sure you're reviewing it on a regular basis. If it's not working, don't spend any more time on it. Move on to something else. But as I was saying a few moments ago, every organization should have 6 different channels of marketing. That could be direct telephone. It could be direct mail. It could be using your website. It could be business networking. There are all sorts of different channels that are still available to you to open up right now. You could have a specific campaign on a specific product, going to a specific set of customers or potential customers. So whatever you do, have more than one, and I would say more than 5 or 6 different marketing channels at any one time, and make sure you're testing, you're measuring, and you're adapting. You're tweaking your marketing strategy all the time. So just before I finish, I just want to ask you, what are the 5 things you need to do right now to your organization, to your marketing strategy? What 5 things are you going to take away from this webinar and you're going to go and do right now, or set yourself a timescale of when you're going to do them? Write them down now. If you want to share them, that's great, but do write them down and put them as not a to-do list, but to achieve list. Think about the achievement. Think about the success you will have once you've put those things into place. So I hope from those 12 steps you've got something to take away. I hope you've got at least 5 actions you can take away from this webinar this morning. Again, just to help you get started, we are offering free coaching sessions for anyone on this webinar who is listening on Facebook that needs it. Please reach out, give us your contact details. Either myself or one of our coaches will call you back and have a chat. We're doing a number of free webinars. At 12 o'clock today, we're talking about brand. Next Monday morning, we are focusing specifically on LinkedIn, and we have guest speakers to talk about that. Last week, we were talking about Facebook and Instagram. We'll be rolling these webinars on and going back to previous content. So if you've missed one in the past, please do come back. We'll be running it again. Keep an eye on our website, which we ourselves are constantly updating and changing. If you haven't got a business plan at all, we are running 90-day planning webinars. We're doing one this evening, starting at 7:30. We're doing another one this week during the daytime. Again, Emily has put a link into the Q&A box so you can find out about those. And if £150 right now for you and your organization is a problem, is going to be a challenge, well, we still want to help. So please contact us. We offer 2 free places on every single one of our 90-day planning webinars. You don't need to disclose to anybody else that you have the free place. But if that would help you get a business plan in place for the next 90 days for your organization, please do contact us and we will help you out if we can. We're also running a virtual book club for those of you who are interested in books and want to read about different business books and look at different discuss different authors and different content and how we can apply that to your business and just have a more of a social time. We're running that at 6 o'clock every Wednesday. And lastly, it just leaves me to say, please do connect with us on Facebook, LinkedIn for regular updates. We're always changing our content on our website, on our Facebook, our LinkedIn profiles, and on our website. So please do connect in with us, and we will continue to update what we can do to help you and the services we are offering to you and your organization, much as I have discussed that and shared that with you to do for your own. So please do contact us. Our email address is there, birmingham@actioncoach.com. We'd love to hear from you. So just before I finish, I've got 3 minutes to go. Emily, is there anything else, any questions that we've not covered, anything else that we need to respond to in the Q&A box before we sign off?
No, I've been answering questions in the comments, so between us, I think we've covered everything.
That's great. Thank you so much, Emily. Well, I can see we've got a larger number than I would have expected this morning, so it's great. We've had a really great response to the webinar this morning. So thank you to every single one of you who sort of logged in with us this morning. It's great to hear you. And Emily, I've just seen one more question come in just before I finish about branding. It was Canva I referred to, I believe. Oh, the branding webinar at 12 o'clock. It could be that question as well. So it's a webinar at 12 o'clock with a gentleman called Mike Lloyd from Yellow. He's going to be joining me at 12. So Emily, if you could just put the link to that in the webinar, that would be in the box. That would be great. Thank you everyone for joining us this morning. It's great, and thank you to those people down in Cornwall, those of you in Birmingham. I'm down in Kent. It's been great being with you this morning, and Emily will reach out to those of you who want to put the link in. Emily, we've got a question. Somebody just before I sign off, we're just wanting the link to the webinar.
Yeah, it's in the Q&A box, but I will put it in there again. There you go.
And if the gentleman, if you want to give us your email address, we can send you a link and invitation directly if that's any help. If that's helpful, well, Stel, just remember in case you want to do that. Any other questions, just put them in now before we do sign off, and we will send a link to this particular gentleman to that webinar directly if that's of any help to him. But it's been great. Thank you to everybody who's been listening, and I hope you all have a great day. Emily, I'm just checking that you've been able to respond to that individual query.
Yes, if you want to just leave us your email and I can get in contact.
In fact, I think I might have that gentleman's email, so I'll respond to him individually. But thank you all so much. We look forward to you joining us again, and have a great morning. Thank you very much.